Which is your go-to, DIY throttle lock or seat cushion?
Ooh, seat cushion.
Which one are you going to pinch pennies on? Camping gear or military surplus gear?
I'm pinching pennies on the military surplus gear.
Which are you more likely to make yourself, an expanded metal radiator guard or a recycled skid plate?
I've actually made the radiator guard, surprisingly, for a KLR, so let's go there.
Go-to do-it-yourself tool, JB Weld or zip ties?
Zip ties, dude.
Which is the better source material, pool noodles or plumbing clamps?
Ooh, probably plumbing clamps.
Which is your luggage of choice, ammo cans or Pelican?
Pelican all the way.
Are you looking for a top box to take your lunch to work, or maybe you need some lockable panniers for your adventure bike? Well, the solution is merely a milk crate or perhaps some ammo cans away. Welcome to Moto Adventure Unscripted, a weekly podcast about motorcycles, travel, outdoors, and adventure. I'm your host, Drew Faulkner. Mark joins me today to talk about how to save a few bucks with do-it-yourself motorcycle parts, accessories, protection, and lots of other things. As usual, we want to hear from you, the listeners. Hit us with email, motoadvr@gmail.com. Leave comments here on Spotify. And wherever you're listening, grab your beverage of choice, turn it up, and we hope you enjoy the show. So you hit me up the other day about penny tech. And I love that that term, but I think the better way to tell people listening is do-it-yourself garage mods. A list of stuff that actually works for adventure riders. So today we've got what? Comfort modifications, luggage, repairs. We were talking about camping gear, tools. Like, we got a laundry list of different things that you can kind of do yourself and pinch pennies and borrow from different industries. So you and I are gonna unpack that for the listeners here. But first, let's hit some mail call, because we got a lot of awesome stuff from the listeners, and hopefully we can make this quick here for everybody and still get into the episode, but still mention that. So hit us with the first email, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Big thanks to Sean for emailing us about episode 155, planning a moto trip. This discussion about permethrin keeps coming around, and Sean was good enough to let us know that permethrin, if you're going to spray your clothes or whatever with it, keep in mind it's extremely, and he wrote it in big bold letters, it's toxic to cats. If applied correctly, it's good for like 6 laundry cycles before a re-app is needed, but he really wanted everybody to know that it is very bad for cats. So again, do your homework on this, you guys, if you're going to go that route. And I did not know that, so I definitely appreciate the info.
Solid. Episode 159, what are the best and worst parts of motorcycling? Jim says there's room to improve my nav skills, but I've realized that lots of people are so intimidated by the nav that they would rather anybody else take the lead. I start with an idea of where I want to go, and then I keep options open to any unknown byway we see. Definitely no wrong turns, just a new adventure kind of thing. That resulted in me leading a pack of road bikes down more than one gravel road, but those guys all ended up buying adventure bikes, so mission accomplished, right?
Absolutely, mission accomplished, dude. Tom, our buddy Tom, episode 162, what are the best used ADV motorcycles under 3,500? He said maybe a future marketplace finds related episode can address the age-old question of what is the stupidest ask you've seen on a total crap bike. And I gotta say, that could be like an 8-hour episode, Tom. Yeah. So that's a phenomenal idea and sounds like a lot of fun. So stay tuned.
I think I could see that. Let's do high-low. Like, what's the most overpriced, ridiculous bike, and what's a solid deal in the same segment? I like that.
Yep.
Same episode, Jay Storm says, a rollarized Guzzi 1200 refers to the factory recall retrofit on the roller lifters in place of the problematic hydraulic lifters. Good choice for a long road trip. I knew there was an engine thing, and I mentioned that episode, so thanks, Jay, for setting us straight on that. I couldn't remember.
Yeah, that one had us confused, so thanks for the education. Daniel on tubes versus tubeless on the unscripted shortcut. If you have TPMS and carry a spare tube, make sure you have a tiny Allen or Torx to remove the sensor. He put in there a side note, the 1290 Adventure doesn't seem to like rear tubes because he ripped off his valve stem when he went to pass, of all things, a garbage truck. So guess he's going to need some rim locks or something. But that is a great tip. I had not considered because I've never had TPMS. So good shout.
Definitely something, that's a whole other conversation. 20 adventure routes and OHV parks every Midwest rider should know. That episode, we'll say, came out today, even though you're not hearing it today. It was probably 2 weeks ago when you're hearing this now. Alexis says, man, I need to keep up with all my homework with all this content. Would you say your advice goes towards dual sport riders of all skill levels? You're almost always mention the type of riding and difficulty. I heard epic, and I wonder, who is the epic riding for? I may replace my dual sport with an adventure bike, and I'm realizing I need to approach riding areas with caution and always make sure things are big bike friendly as I build up my skills on a 500-pound off-road machine. That's definitely something I want to follow up on. On that particular episode, there's definitely... When I said epic, we were talking about Redbird Crest OHV, and that is definitely a dual sport place. Not saying you can't take an adventure bike there, but it's going to be a lot of work. That's probably one of the harder places based on what everybody's shown me thus far. However, I don't have firsthand experience. I'm looking forward to it. So, real quick note before you and I get into all these garage hacks and whatnot, I want to mention to folks, if you're listening to this on Spotify, they actually have the ability to speed up listening. A couple podcasts I listen to who talk slower than Mark and I do, and I actually listen to the podcast. It's, economic garbage news that nobody really should listen to, but I listen at like 1.25 and 1.5. So if this podcast is a little long and you'd like to hear all of it, just know that you can actually speed up Mark and I yakking until we don't sound like the chipmunks, and you can get through the whole episode faster. So just a tip there.
That's how Chase listens to us every time. Yeah. I don't know if it's 2 times or 1.5 times, but yeah.
I just found that setting the other day. Sounds stupid, but it was just like, there's a particular podcast I really like, but I'm like, God, could this guy speed it up? And I was like, oh, duh, I forgot. I knew YouTube had that, but I forgot that Spotify had that, so that's there. Anyway, do-it-yourself garage hacks, man. What topic do you want to start with?
Well, I think that the most important thing is to kind of define penny tech for a second. What do you think?
I agree 100%.
All right, cool, man. So penny tech is just something that I didn't invent that name. It came from somewhere long ago that I picked up, and I've just always carried it with me. And I always put a little TM for trademark after the word penny tech because I think it's hilarious. But to me, this is like really ultra cheap hacks, if you will, for motorcycling, right? And it can be anything related to bikes in pennies, right? Like I'm thinking stuff that's not even meant for motorcycling, and we'll cover a lot of that. So, how did you get out of this jam, or how did you solve this problem for, as cheap as humanly possible? Like, the joke is going to be the KLR guys are going to absolutely love this episode, and I've used most of these myself. I'm not going to talk about much I haven't done. So that's what penny tech is to me. Do you have anything to add to that?
No, I'm laughing, thinking that I'm normally, the cheapskate, but in today's episode, yes, I will be the shopper, not the chopper, is what I have a suspicion that I will be exposed.
It is a flip of the script a little bit, that's for sure, man. And, a lot of this stuff is just stuff that it was just done out of necessity at the time,
I've done some customization to the Scrambler, so some of this applies to me, but I have a feeling that your field fixes and knowledge of other stuff is definitely going to pay the bills here.
Yeah, dude. Yep, it should be an interesting one for us. We've got a couple different categories. Should we run down the categories for everybody?
Yep, I was going to say that I got comfort mods, luggage, repairs, tools and garage, bike protection, gear. Yep, I think that was it. And gear and camping, I think is what we had. All right, so which topic do you want to start with?
Man, I think we go with mods and comfort mods. Let's call it comfort mods.
Hit me with your best choice, sir.
Well, the thing that started this entire idea for me is going to be what I go with first here, and that is that my Norden has these big honking bullhorn grab rails at the back of the bike that you can't run and still have like rackless luggage or any sort of system like that. So I took the grab handles off, and then I had nowhere to grab the rear of the bike, like to throw it up on the center stand or if it drops or whatever. So I found another poster had made grab handles out of kayak straps. And so there's literally two bolts where the panniers or the grab handles bolts into the back of the bike. It just happens to be the perfect length between the two mounting points of that kayak grab handle. They were $10 for two of them at Walmart. God bless Ozark Trail. Special place in heaven for Ozark Trail. That they come up quite a few times in today's episode, by the way.
You posted that, and I'm like, oh, I have like multiple uses for this, so I'm gonna have to hunt this down because I need one of those for sure.
It worked out great. I bought the only thing I had to buy extra were a few washers, and away I go. Now I have grab handles, man.
The thing that I've seen my friends do that I want to fire back with that I absolutely love is they've used pool noodles to line all kinds of stuff. Like several of my friends, I think Rick that's been on the show, his wife rides two up with him quite a bit. So they like the convenience of hard luggage. So they'll line parts of the hard luggage with a pool noodle because she actually like leans back against it. So it's not like that. Yeah, so instead of paying for the extra, because I forget what it was, but some OEM used to charge some stupid amount of money for one of those little like, rubber stick-on things for your passenger on your top box. It's like, no, we'll just glue a pool noodle on there. This is way more effective than that.
That's
I've
awesome.
seen people put pool noodles on, like you said, the grab rails on the side on some of the adventure bikes. They're too skinny, so they wrap them in the pool noodles. So it's like, the wife sits on the back and she's much more comfortable, because she's not being stabbed in the side by one of these things. I'm like, yep, I like all this stuff.
The pool noodles is a good one, man. I got one that you may not have heard of before, but I had a BMW 650 Dakar for a while, and it was taller than the standard one, right? But what BMW didn't do was give you a longer side stand. So what the hack was is we would take a hockey puck and bolt it at the bottom of the foot of the side stand.
Yes.
And it was the perfect length, and you got a wider footprint. So there were a bunch of guys with F650 Dakars riding around with literal hockey pucks just bolted to the bottom of the side stand, and it prevented the bike from leaning over too far. I mean, that bike looked like it was going to fall over if you breathed on it wrong until the almighty Detroit Red Wings came to the rescue.
It's funny because I have one of those. It's not a hockey puck, but on the scrambler, it was a piece of Delrin that somebody cut in a round circle.
Piece of what? What is that?
Delrin.
I don't know what that is.
It is kind of like nylon style material. It's a polymer type material that you can actually machine the way you machine metal. So we use it in manufacturing quite a bit, but it can be a sacrificial part. So I had a piece of that. I've had a 3D printed part, all that other stuff. But yeah, if I finally break this 3D printed thing that's on my scrambler, I'm just putting a hockey puck on there because then you've got better, off road square, PSI on the dirt, so it doesn't sink in as bad.
Yeah, man, it's perfect, dude.
I don't use any of this personally, but I'm big on throttle locks. There's a whole bunch of hacks for a throttle lock. You can use big O-rings. Apparently, somehow you can use a tennis ball. I don't know how this works, but I've seen and heard that before. I shouldn't say I've seen. I've heard that before. I've seen the popsicle stick and the rubber band deal. I've seen that one done. People have used apparently fuel hose, Velcro, binder clips. Like there's a whole bunch of different MacGyver ways to use all that stuff as a throttle lock in a pinch. Like I said, I've only seen the popsicle stick thing, and I've heard people put a big O-ring on it, and they actually, man, this is horrible video, right? They put it on the edge of the grip, and they use their hand to slide it all the way over to get wedged in between the throttle and your hand guards.
Yep.
That scares the shit out of me, but
I've done it.
Apparently do it. Yeah, people apparently do it. But
there was with the Triumph Tigers, it was a big yellow John Deere O-ring. Somebody had figured out what exact size it was, or maybe it was a Caterpillar, one of those tractor companies. And that was the go-to, man. It always felt like you were like putting a condom on or something. It was and well, there we go right away.
Yep.
Drew's gonna edit me out, but I mean, it worked. It worked really well. I used to use a big ass zip tie, like a big sturdy zip tie works out really well too. And you wrap it around the throttle tube, and it rests the end of it that's sticking out rests on the top of the lever, and it works out really well too. So talk about penny tech. What's cheaper than a flipping zip tie? They come up a few times in this episode too.
That's pretty solid. What else you got?
Okay, here's another one for you, dude, and you're gonna love the cheapness of this. Milk jug hippo hands.
I have that on my list.
Do you really? All
Yes, I do.
right, dude. Yes, sir. Yep. Cut it. Get yourself a gallon milk jug and preferably water and not milk, but anything will work. And get some aforementioned zip ties and zip tie that joker to your hand guards or handlebars, and you can get through some pretty cold weather in a pinch with that setup.
It's I had bleach bottles. Yeah, definitely. If
Ooh.
you can find an old bleach bottle, cut those in half and duct tape them to your hand guards, and you'll be in good shape. That's a good mud race tactic too. Like you can buy the ones from Giant Loop. I'm sure they're amazing, and I'm sure they're better than bleach bottles, but they're not cheaper than duct tape and bleach bottles.
Nope, no doubt about it. Yeah, this episode brought to you by Hippo Hands.
Definitely that. And
Yeah,
I'm going to
man.
fire back with one that I was actually very close to doing. Trash can windscreens. So
Ooh.
in the dual sport place, like I had that CRF 250L and I wanted to create just a short windscreen for it. So if you have that sloped front end on the headlight, you can buy some kind of square, like plastic office trash can. If you cut that out into one big sheet, there's actually a way to fold it, cut it, and I saw people, they put Velcro on the bottom of the plastic and on the front of the motorcycle. And so it was just this, L-shaped deal that you stuck down on. It was kind of accordion to make it stand up and stay that way at speed. But yeah, the Velcro just held it to the bike. And so when you wanted to get serious, you just tear it off of there and throw it in your bag. And then when you got back on the road again, you stuck it on there. Like, yeah, we literally used a piece of trash and Velcro to make a windscreen.
That's awesome, dude. Heck yeah. I'll give you one more. This was the Walmart ATV Ozark Trail again, second mention, sponsored by Ozark Trail, seat pad. So
Yeah.
it's it's okay. It's kind of penny tech because it is made for an ATV, but it's a gel pad, and it was definitely under $20. I think it was probably $10 when I had one, but it has 3 straps. You take your seat off, you strap this thing around your seat, you put it on your seat, and it's not the prettiest thing in the world, but man, it'll get the job done.
That was on my list, and now that it has your seal of approval, I'm definitely going to be looking into that one. So
I've still got one just ready to go if I need it.
the other thing that I wanted to throw out was Lexan acrylic windscreens and windshield spoilers. I obviously made the original windscreen for my Speedmaster, and that windscreen eventually went on my Scrambler as well. So I just took a couple pieces of sheet metal out of the scrap bin at work, bent them, drilled holes in them, painted it, fitted them onto the bike, and then that piece of Lexan cost me $20 from the hardware store, and you can use a heat gun. So you just cut it out on a bandsaw or a scroll saw. You can do it by hand. It's gonna suck, but you could do it. But I did it at work. But and then you just bend it to the shape you want with a heat gun, and then put some bolts through it.
That's awesome, dude. Love it, man. If those mods don't get you more comfortable on your bike, I don't know what will.
Yeah, I don't. Well, that's a whole other discussion, like whether or not long term. But we can do that in the subscriber section. All right, are we talking luggage next? Is that where you want to go?
Yeah, dude. Let's go with luggage, man. This is a good category, I think.
Yeah. Hit me with your first luggage option.
Okay, my favorite one by far is my buddy Matt he needed a top rack on his G650X challenge. Well, nobody made one for that bike. So he took a sterling silver serving platter and he cut it up. He cut like holes in it. Dude, I'm talking about this was like what your mom would have served deviled eggs on at Thanksgiving, you know what I mean? And it was a nice sterling silver thing. And he bolted that joker to his top rack, and he had a big, nice place to carry stuff, dude. Honorable mention to barbecue grill grates being used as a top rack. So yeah, either one of those, dude. Like when he did that, I was like, I'm gonna remember that for the rest of my life, Matt.
Yeah. My favorite by far is ammo can luggage.
Oh yeah.
I lusted after that for years for the Scrambler, and when I was much more of a street rider, I was that close to doing it. Like I bought the side rack specifically with that intention. But I have a friend, I think he got. You can look it up, right? Like, but there's different size ammunition cases, 50 cal, whatever it is. But yeah, you can buy 40 millimeter grenade ammo cans. They're huge.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can get like 40 liter panniers by buying these things and bolting them on there. And if you do it right, it's relatively waterproof. If you use the right amount of JB Weld and everything else, there really is a gasket that goes on the top of these ammo cans. They are heavy. That's the issue, right? Is you're typically paying for aluminum from somebody else, but you're going to be paying for, metal most of the time. It's pretty damn heavy stuff. But no, I love that thing. It doesn't save you money on the racks, but it saves you money on the quote bags for sure.
Oh yeah, and actually, we used to. I'm gonna give another shout out to hockey pucks right here because hockey pucks you can use to mount those bags to the racks, and they're like the right dimension for most racks, and you just hockey pucks are, I don't know, they fit. I'm trying to figure out how to explain it. They literally fit in the pannier rack and then you just put a little tab on there. And they turn over and they lock on. They're perfect. You ever seen that before?
No, I've not seen it. But
Dude,
it's
it
a
works
giant piece
great.
of vulcanized rubber. You can cut it with a bandsaw if that's what you need to do.
Yeah.
You can drill holes in them. Like, it's pretty straightforward stuff.
No doubt. I'm a big fan of the Pelican top box. That's what I've got on my bike is a Vault V100. I've got a 200 for bigger stuff, but it's the right size. It's so easy to get in. I hate the way a top box looks, but dude, they're just so convenient, man.
Yep. No, the Pelican cases was on my list. Like lots of people are all about the Pelican case thing. So did you have something else you want to fire back with, or was it just a hockey pucks?
Nah, I had a dual sport. I mentioned this to you a couple episodes ago. Actually, I took a little JanSport mini backpack, and it was like real popular in the early 2000s for girls to wear these little mini JanSport backpacks kind of as a purse. I saw one of those. I was like, that's perfect, man. I took a piece of sheet metal, I cut it to the backing of the backpack, and I bolted it into the rear fender of my KLX 400. And for like $15, bam, I had luggage on the back of it. It wasn't waterproof, but I didn't care. It was fine. So I cut the straps off of it, and I bolted it on there, and it just stayed there as long as I think I sold the bike with it on there, dude. It worked out great.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Similar to what I started with, if you can go find a flea market where they still have military surplus, it's not what it used to be. And obviously, I've not been in a flea market in a long time, but there's that option for you. I had artillery round tubes. So mortar rounds were actually stored in these big, long canister tubes. That was my tool tube. Like, it was sitting on top of the rack on the scrambler. My wife got it at discount for who knows where, Amazon or whatever it was, for nothing. And that was a great way to create a tool tube. I had every tool under the sun packed in that damn thing. It was way too heavy and too big, and I would never do that again. But it was, that's an option if you want to stuff a bunch of crap in there.
Well, while we're talking about tool tubes, like we're skipping ahead to the tool section for me, but dude, you can't beat you're fine. You can't beat the old welding stick or tractor manual plastic tool tube, and it's funny because that thing, like, I'm going to go back to luggage in a second here, but that thing is a prime example of once the motorcycle aftermarket companies catch wind of it and all of a sudden somehow find a way to make it motorcycle specific, it's 3 times as much money, man. And you can literally do that here. You can buy one of these things from one of the vendors and it's whatever, $90, or you can go to Tractor Supply and it's $10. So take your pick. They're the same damn thing.
Welding electrode canister, I think is the word you need to look up. That is definitely the way to go. So,
yeah, man.
What else you got?
My other big one for luggage, and then I'm done, is it goes off what I was just talking about. Non-motorcycle specific dry bags, like usually meant for kayaking, they're like the third the price of a motorcycle specific one. Like, you can go to Academy Sports or Dick's Sporting Goods or whatever, go to the kayak section and pick out your dry bag. I mean, I got this yellow, we called it the big yellow bag from Walmart again.
Yeah.
Ozark Trail. It was like $10 or $15. It's a 30-liter yellow roll top dry bag. It's bomb proof, dude. I've had that thing for 25 years, man, and I still have it. And the only difference is that it doesn't have little, hooks built into it so that you can just directly strap it. So you got to get like rock straps or something and throw it over. That's the only difference, dude. It's insane the markup on a motorcycle specific dry bag.
I'm going to fire back with the ultimate garage hack. You can buy jerry can hangers, fire extinguisher hangers, and you can buy obviously jerry cans, but you can buy like fuel cans. You can convert 5-gallon gas cans into luggage panniers, and you can hang them on the bike with all of those racks that I mentioned before. And then you still have the ability to pick them up and carry them off the bike and take them into your hotel room or whatever else it is, because the rack is meant for, like I said, jerry cans or fire extinguishers or whatever else it is. No, it's made to come on and off. And then it does involve being a little bit creative, especially if you're going to convert like a 5-gallon jug. You can also use 1-gallon oil jugs. If you buy the big jug, you can cut the top off. I saw some great pictures of that where somebody cut down the top of it and the top folds open and closed. That's a whole other discussion about how secure everything is inside that container. But if you do it right,
that's cool though.
Yeah, you can definitely do that. I could totally see you taking 2 of them, cutting the top so the handles are on there, and then cutting the bottom off another one and covering the top with the bottom of the other one. So now it's a sealed thing, and then you just pull that lid off and use the handle. Like, there's a whole bunch of hacks that go with that. But yeah, you could repurpose fuel, water jugs, jerry cans, all that stuff. And there's probably a bunch of military surplus stuff with that. The big 5-gallon plastic jerry cans and water cans are military surplus. I don't know what they cost, but they're hardy. You could beat the shit out of them.
That's awesome, man. I once saw a guy in the 950 groups that had, it has the dual exhaust that tuck up high and low on the 950. I mean, not high and low, but high and inside. He would run a 2-into-1 exhaust. So technically you could get rid of one of those mufflers, but he didn't. He took that other muffler and he somehow sealed it and made it like a hideaway spot to stash stuff, which I thought was totally rad. And may as well, you've already got the muffler. So it worked out pretty cool, man. I always loved that. That's all I got for luggage, man. You got anything else awesome to talk about?
The only thing I wanted to mention on top of that, I've seen kitty litter buckets and toolboxes. Obviously, we talked about milk crates already. And then to your point, Molly pouches. That was the only other stuff that I kind of had written on there. That
you have my interest with kitty litter boxes. What is this about, dude? I have to know.
Kitty litter gets sold in these like 1 and 2 gallon tubs,
right?
With a resealable lid. So it's the same thing I was talking about before, similar to the way you would do ammo cans, or if you were doing that whole jerry can thing. I have actually seen photographs on like Adventure Rider of this stuff where it's
with a kitty litter.
2 kitty litter buckets are strapped to the racks because they're some pretty hardy plastic. At least they were until recently, right? Everything plastic these days got a lot thinner than it used to. It used to be real hardy. But I'm like, no, I can totally see somebody figuring out how to strap them, bolt them onto the racks.
I have never once, we have a cat, and I've never once looked at his litter box and been like, that should go on my motorcycle. That's a special place.
Not the litter box. The tubs that the actual kitty litter is sold in.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I knew I just misspoke, but that's still, I've never looked at that. And that or the litter box, neither one. That's incredible, dude.
It's a shitty way to save money, but whatever's necessary.
I see what you did there, man. What you got for repairs? You got anything cool for repairs? I know you do.
The favorite one that I have not done, but I was pretty close to considering, is the beer case gasket. That these days you have to order a paper gasket from companies because it's stuff that's not usually on the shelf at a dealership or whatnot. But back in the day, folks would just take a case of beer, fold it out flat, and put it on top of whatever the engine case is that you need, kind of tap on it to get the shape that's written on there, and cut it out, and bingo bongo, you got a brand new paper gasket thanks to a beer case.
Heck yeah, dude. Now, was it any specific beer or just beer in general?
Nah, and I said beer. You know how it would work. A 24-pack of soda would work for a lot of that stuff. And, I looked a lot of this crap up on the internet and had AI do a bunch of the work, and it had about 4 or 5 different options for the different cardboard sources that you could use for that. And I went, okay, that's more than enough.
Yeah, right. We get the idea. That's awesome, dude. I love that, man. I once had a leaky brake reservoir sight glass on an XR650, and I still wanted to be able to see into the sight glass. So I took a washer and I JB welded it to the outside, and so I could still see the sight glass, and it rode like that. Also, I've done that with a penny on another sight glass. I JB welded a penny to a sight glass that I didn't really need to see through, and I think I sold the bike like that, dude. The literal penny tech right there. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
Let's see here. It's funny because I think I lost this on my list. I don't even know where this fits. I needed a mud flap for the Scrambler when I was racing because when I gave it the high fender was so high that the front wheel is just throwing all the mud directly onto the oil cooler. So I needed a mud
good
flap.
good times.
So I spent $5 on Amazon ordering some kind of mud flap rubber. Who knows what that was for? And you can find that crap all over the place or at a truck stop and cut it up or whatever else it was. And I literally drilled a hole in 5 pennies because it would be cheaper for me to drill holes in pennies than it would be for me to buy washers from the hardware store. And I used rivets to rivet the mud flap to the Scrambler. It's on there to this day.
You have to put pictures up.
Yeah, yeah. So
that's awesome. Man, you know what my favorite thing is besides zip ties for Penny Tech repairs? Gorilla tape, dude. I love Gorilla tape. My son loves Gorilla tape. He's working on a duct tape suit right now that he can wear to opening day of school next year, including top hat, dude.
Tell me you're from Georgia without telling me.
That's fair. That's fair.
I hear Jeff Foxworthy's voice now. I live in Atlanta.
That was a really good impression, man. I had a seat. It was a leather seat, like a Bill Mayer seat or something on my 950, and it was splitting at the seams. And I took Gorilla tape and I patched it. Dude, that Gorilla tape held for like 5 years. It had like 50,000 miles on the Gorilla tape seat, and the only time I ever had a problem is if it got real hot and it sat out in the sun, that glue would kind of get a little soft.
Yeah.
But other than that, I just left it, man. I ran with it. It worked beautifully. Again, sold the bike with that Gorilla tape seat on there, and it can be used for so many things, but it worked beautifully there.
That's funny. You actually reminded me one I did not write down, but it's relevant to this conversation. So I have installed my own heated grips multiple times. Lots of people have installed grips. Racers are going to use safety wire, and they're going to be like, why are you even talking about that? That's dumb. But I find that heated grips, typically aftermarket grips and whatnot, slip, especially on the left-hand grip.
Yup.
So you can actually take hockey tape very carefully and run hockey tape underneath your heated grip and then put the super glue on and then shove it back on there. Unlikely to happen again. I raced the Scrambler with heated grips after that thing and still didn't rip them off of there. So that's a Penny Tech mod to fix that particular problem.
I do like that because we used to put electrical tape on the non-throttle cable side because the metal bar would just heat sink all the warmth out of that heated grip. I like Aquanet hairspray for grips.
Yeah.
Just old school 1980s Bon Jovi Poison style hairspray sprayed inside the grip. It slips right on and then it dries and it holds great, man.
When you install an Oxford heated grip, it's got a plastic sleeve on the inside, and that's what happens is that plastic sleeve may or may not fit whatever your bar size is, especially if it's OEM, because it's not necessarily uniform, and that's why you need to take up that space. So that's what I've always just run a little hockey tape on there and some glue. Done that several times now.
Nice, so dude.
That's the move. We could do a whole show on duct tape for sure.
Oh yeah, heck yeah. I like another thing that the same guy that made the sterling silver top rack taught me about. He made a side not a side stand, but like to prop up the bike on the side stand. If you have a flat tire, taking one of those aluminum crutches.
Yep.
Like if you broke your leg, take it and cut it in half at the bottom, because the bottom of those crutches have adjustments, right? With two little pins you can push in, and now you can make it taller or shorter. So you can push the pins in and make it real short, and it can fit in a pannier rack, zip tie it to the pannier rack or somewhere on the frame. And when you need it, you just lengthen it, stick it up underneath part of your swing arm or your foot peg, and there you go. Away you go.
I had that in tools, but under repair. I got some more stuff I want to follow up on.
Well,
that when we
they
get to tools,
they
for sure.
flow into each other. I think
Yep, no,
repairs,
100%.
tools, and maintenance. I think
Yep.
it's all one category.
Nope,
Honestly,
I like it. I think that's the way to move.
Yeah.
You mentioned it earlier. I've used pieces of a pop can for JB Weld. There's currently a sliver of pop can covering the left side case on my WR250 right now. JB Weld and all of its accoutrements are definitely the bonus. I wanted to throw this out here because I mentioned it earlier. I used a penny as a washer. The internet says that people have used pennies as crush washers. And I'm like, I've never thought about that before. Could I drill a hole in a penny and put that underneath my, if I lose the crush washer to my
Yeah.
the oil screw?
Why not, man? Yeah, I think it's worth doing. Try it out. Let me know. Let me know if it holds.
You want to move over to, I've got recovery. Let me throw one more out there.
Yeah, go ahead.
You talked about the kayak grab handle or whatever it is. You can, I don't know how to say this. So you can tie paracord into a handle. That was actually the grab handle on my CRF 250L for a long time. I had a front grab handle that was paracord that I actually stitched on a nice big fat piece so you could get your hand on it. Wouldn't hurt your hand pulling on a piece of paracord.
That's awesome too.
If you got that laying around, that's pretty cheap stuff.
Heck yeah, man. Are we just lumping all this into one category, you think?
I think we're smoothly transitioning into tools garage recovery. Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't think it gets any cheaper to clean a chain than using kerosene. Have you ever cleaned your chain with kerosene?
The only thing cheaper than cleaning my chain with kerosene, which I have done, is not cleaning it at all. But yes,
I'm also a
WD-40
fan
and
of not
kerosene are my
cleaning it at all.
go-tos.
Either don't clean it or use kerosene. I do use WD-40 also. We are about to get some strongly worded emails. They can all go directly to Drew, which that email address is...
Please, moto80vr@gmail.com. I'm looking forward to having an argument about chain cleaning, both with respect to doing it, not doing it with kerosene, and doing it with WD-40. I have Fort 9. They've got my back.
Yeah, dude. I have used WD-40 exclusively on my chain when I do my chain.
Yeah.
First of all, I think chain maintenance is one of those things that is way oversold. Way oversold.
Tangent. Definitely speaking of penny tech.
Yeah, for real. But yeah, man, it's a good one. What you got for me?
I think in this case, I purchased, I spent the money, shopped, not shopped, on a toe strap. But if you have a broken ratchet strap that the ratchet doesn't work anymore, then just throw the hook and the strap in your side case, and now you have a toe strap.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep.
It works good. I've used it multiple times. Not my toe strap, but that's what Bill's always had, and it's bailed us out of the woods a lot.
Bonus, if you tie a loop in one end of it, it becomes even more versatile. But that toe straps and tie down straps, they have many, many uses, man. I learned this from my pal Wes, who does vintage BMW restorations. Walk into his shop, and he's got muffin pans laying around everywhere, dude. And so he has these muffin pans, like 24 little mini muffins in a pan, metal. And when he takes a bike apart, he puts the bolts in that he takes off in each slot for the muffin, right? And he puts them in order. So they go up and down and up
That's
and
smart.
down. And then when
Yes.
he's putting the bike back together, it reverses order, dude. And I loved it. I was like, that is so rad. And so I use it every single time that I work on a bike. I have a muffin tin that I bought exclusively for this. And in addition to that, especially with these Triumph engine cases, when they have I don't know, they might use 65 bolts to hold a Triumph engine case on for some reason.
I have a Bonneville. I'm aware.
100% you do. And you get a piece of cardboard and trace basically where the outline is for the bolts, because some of those, especially on the Triumph, they're different lengths. You can't just mix them all up, right?
It's a huge problem.
It's a problem. Get a piece of cardboard and draw the outline of the engine case, and then put the bolts in the drawing on the piece of cardboard, if I'm explaining this properly. And now when you're ready to reassemble, you just hold up that piece of cardboard with all your bolts stuck into the holes, and you know exactly where they go. Have you ever seen that trick or done that before?
I do it religiously for all the reasons you're talking about.
You
Because
have to.
if you work on certain bikes, they have a real bad habit of making multiple different size screws, and you can't tell
So
from the
annoying.
outside. It doesn't make sense. Like the pocket doesn't look longer than any of the other ones, but suddenly you have a longer screw, and I'm like, oh Lord.
Yep. Yep.
But no, I grab I've always got some Amazon box or whatever the new part shows up in from wherever you bought it, and I might grab a marker or whatever else is, but I grab a screwdriver and I just start
Yep.
stabbing the shape into the screwdriver, and then each screw that comes out goes into the hole for the screwdriver made in it.
It's a great way to do it.
No, that's the thing, right? If you got a case of beer, that's half of it's going to become a gasket, the other half is going to become the retainer for all that. You mentioned that man, I love that muffin pan thing. I think I would grab a magnet too and put a magnet on that muffin pan and see if you can also magnetize that a little bit to
That'd be
keep the
cool.
screws from falling out. Yeah, if you got
Yeah.
some random magnets laying around the house, for sure. So we're talking tools. I've mentioned
Yeah.
this on the tire episode before. You can buy a bunch of wonderful bead breaker tools, and you can buy a set to carry with you. But as a guy who rode by himself all the time and didn't want the extra space taken up or didn't want to pay the price for a dedicated bead breaker set, I bought a C-clamp for $3 at Harbor Freight and carried around a big C-clamp that would fit around the rear rim. So if I had to break a bead in a pinch, I could always do that. And it still gets used in my garage to this day. I don't
But you
have an
used to carry it
expensive
on
bead
your
breaker.
bike, though?
Yeah, it was literally, I just shared a picture of it the other day because it came up in my Facebook memories. It was zip tied to the inside of my pannier rack. It just lived there all the time. I had to shoot
That's
some WD-40 on it because it was starting to rust. It was,
Yeah, I bet it was.
made Harbor Freight, But
That's awesome.
like I said, it still gets used to this day. I got it out. Last set of tires I changed.
Well, while we're talking about tires, and you mentioned tie downs earlier, and I mentioned milk jugs earlier, so I'm going to make all these things relate to each other. If you have a tubeless wheel, Drew, don't listen because you don't care about this, but if you have a tubeless wheel and you are struggling to seat the bead on that damn tubeless tire onto the wheel when you're changing it, which I struggle with almost every time I change a tubeless wheel, what you need to do is get a tie down strap and wrap it around the circumference of the tire and ratchet that baby down to get the sidewalls and the safety beads to get onto the rim of the tire so that it can hold enough air. The problem with this is that you also need some friction or some slippage. It's the opposite of friction, right? Because otherwise the tie down strap just holds onto the rubber, and I actually had tie down strap blow up in my face because I didn't understand the physics of this entire endeavor. So I got a milk jug, I cut it into slips, little strips, and I slide it between the tire and the tie down strap. Now when I'm tightening the strap down, it doesn't have this friction, right? The milk jugs allow the strap to slide. So now you start filling it with air, and bingo bongo, as you say. I think that's a Drew phrase. It works out great. So now in my drawer, I've got a tire changing drawer, and it's got like a dozen strips from a cut up milk jug, and it works beautifully.
I guess from here, the next thing that with tools is, and this requires that you know someone who knows how to weld, but you have the ability to custom make axle wrenches and all kinds of stuff. I've seen people take the 27 millimeter or whatever it is for your rear axle and weld it to a piece of rebar that they found in the trash somewhere. Like,
That's awesome.
I've obviously taken 2 cheap wrenches from Harbor Freight and cut them in half with a cutting wheel and welded them together. So now I have one wrench for, the front and rear on the bike. So yeah, I've seen rebar and sockets and all kinds of stuff welded to different things from people's toolkits.
I love how there's one common theme in all of Penny Tech, and that is weight savings matters not. Penny Tech does not concern itself with the savings of weight, my friend.
You know how many milk crates you could buy with $100 versus a titanium wrench set? I mean, come on, man.
You're like, just weld that wrench to some rebar and then with the zip tie it to your luggage rack that you know have also a I forgot what you said, a jerry can, which we all know doesn't exactly weigh nothing. That's awesome, man. Go ahead.
No, I would. Yeah, that's exactly it. No, I got nothing else there.
I one of my favorite last couple things I got, one of my favorite tools that I ever made was, I got so tired. It took me 15 years to come up with this. I would have my bike on the lift and I would go to drop my rear wheel out so I could change the tire, and it was always it dude, those wheels are heavy, man, and they're
Yeah.
awkward to fit in there, and you're trying to like hold it with one hand and shove your leg under it and like, you know, find this weird like feng shui, like, you know, trying to like get this weird yoga pose to get it all lined up. Dude, I finally took two little pieces of scrap wood I had. I screwed them together so they were the right height. And
Yeah.
and then I brought them over to my miter saw and I put a taper on them and I shove that underneath my rear wheel now. Every time I am going to drop the wheel, and it's the perfect height for where it needs to go to get the axle back in to the swing arm. And I actually wrote on it with Sharpie marker, "Do not throw away." So I know it's because I got a pile of scrap wood. So I'm like, this is my
I was just
this is
headed
my
there.
thing, you know? Yeah, man. Yep.
There's a bunch of, you know, cut off 2x4 pieces, you know, any scrap 2x4 piece that you cut to length, it's laying on the floor of my garage and the kickstands are on top of it to get the
Oh,
bikes to
nice.
they stand up better in the garage, you know, because if they lean over, you know, you can't get in between them, but when they stand up, you can walk between them better. So yeah,
Yes,
there's a, you
sir.
know, piece of a 2x4 under almost all of them in there.
Love it.
Is anything else for tools before we get into bike protection?
I only have one more, and it might seem obvious, but I have three different spring pullers that I've made out of wire coat hangers, and yeah, I keep safety glasses right next to those, so it reminds me to use safety glasses, dude. If you're pulling springs and you're not using safety glasses, you're taking your vision in your own hands. So yeah, I've had so many springs from foot pegs and kickstands just fly across the room at Mach 10, you know, just yeah. So I wear safety glasses, but yeah, spring puller, wire coat hanger. Bob's your uncle.
So I have, we've talked about it in an entire episode. I use zip ties to change tires. I don't do it like I used to, so I'm actually not good at it anymore. But I find that the quarter-inch zip ties, the long quarter-inch zip ties, are the best spring puller for me. So I make a sacrificial zip tie because it's $3 for a 12 pack. So I'm like, whatever.
That's a good idea.
Not necessarily the best solution, and I've had to get creative with a couple times. I just put a brand new kickstand spring on the T7.
Ugh.
Ooh, that's a burly spring, buddy.
Yeah,
So
I hear
that
you.
took some work. Like you said about safety glasses, I was putting that on. I'm like, I'm about to get hit with a gunshot in the chest here if I'm not
Yeah.
careful or yank this
You
right
are.
off the stand.
It is. Yeah, I had to fix a lawnmower a couple weeks ago, and I was putting that on, and I used my spring puller, and it's like it was so close. It's like I don't know who's making these springs, but they are masochists, dude.
Yeah. Bike protection. What's the penny savings in bike protection?
All right, this is my favorite one. I have two for bike protection, and they're both my
Okay.
favorites. My favorite one is when I had dual sports, and back when headlights were just squares, and
Yeah.
you know, like think DRZ, XR 650, KLR, that kind of thing. I found out that there was a soap dish, a mesh soap dish that had two suction cups on it that you was made to put in your shower. And if you pulled those, I was looking at it one day and I'm like, huh, if you pull the suction cups off and turn it on its side, it's the same exact size as the headlight. So I drilled a few little mini tiny holes in my in the surrounding plastic in the headlight shroud, zip ties that soap dish to
Yeah.
the number plate, and
Yes.
bam, I had a freaking headlight guard, dude. It was like $3.
Oh, that's rock solid. All right, I'm going to fire back, and I can't remember the source material. I originally was going to make the radiator slash oil cooler guard from an air filter. Like, if you've looked at a Triumph air filter, that thing's huge. It's like a 6-inch cylinder that you put inside the Triumph. So I had actually opened it and unfolded it and cut it to length and was going to paint it and put it on there. And I'm trying to remember what part it ended up being, but the rock guard that I built to race the Scrambler is some kind of expanded metal air filter. And now I can't remember what I actually got it from, but that's it. I totally folded the edges of it, put the screws that actually hold the guard on there, and painted it black. Like, that's it. Just totally reused a motorcycle part to make a motorcycle part.
It's awesome what a rattle can of black spray paint can do to disguise things. I mean, I'm not going to dive deep down this, but look at how they made the lightsaber handles in Star Wars movies. They used a part of a camera, they turned it over and they spray painted it, and they had lightsabers. And Star Trek used Lady Bic shavers for the communication devices. You know what I mean? Like, if you have enough imagination and hot glue and black spray paint, you can make anything, man.
Yeah, it's without stealing your thunder. Cutting boards and black spray paint are one of my favorite. My luggage rack on the Scrambler is a cutting board. Like, I literally took a cutting board. Yep. Because these days, like, people listening, you can find some really nice luggage, but you got to pay extra for the custom rack that goes with it. Like, well, there's a cutting board at the dollar store and I have a zip saw. And so I'm just going to drill 2 holes in it, use a zip saw to cut the slits that I need into it, and bingo bongo, there it is again. Your luggage fits on there. So yeah, you can buy some Adele clamps at the hardware store and that whole thing, or you can, shell out $100 a piece for your custom easy racks.
I love it, dude. Back to my 640 adventure days. Everybody wanted tank protectors for that tank because it was an expensive tank. It was kind of vulnerable. It sat out there a little bit. I've seen carbon fiber ones. They make metal ones. I mean, all kinds of stuff. The best ones though were made out of rhino liner, dude.
Yeah, and I had that on my list.
Did you? Yeah. It's such a great protection hack for motorcycles. I mean, and guys were getting creative, right? Like, it's easy to go like, I just painted the whole bike with rhino liner. There were guys that were like making designs with it, like curves that go with the lines of the bike and stuff, and they ended up looking really good. I think rhino liner was used a little heavily about a decade ago. Yeah. And it's like, dude, you should not have rhino lined that entire KLR. That looks terrible. But in the right place, man, it can be really cool, dude.
Yeah, no weight savings yet again.
Right.
This is my favorite, and I wish I could remember where I saw it, because I want to say I saw it in person, but street sign skid plates. When I saw somebody rocking like a stop sign as a skid plate, I was like, that is the greatest thing I've ever seen on a motorcycle.
It is.
I mean, those things are big chunks of aluminum, dude.
Yeah.
It's somebody pirated a stop sign somewhere and bent it and formed it and bolted it to the bottom of their bike. And I'm like, oh, this is so much winning. It is so much winning.
That's even better if that dude can throw a 12 o'clock wheelie up and it's just nothing but stop sign underneath. That's amazing. I love that.
Curve ahead, a big square yellow caution sign, whatever it is. But and I've seen those folded into, again, the jerry can racks. Like, you could fold a street sign and create a custom luggage bracket by, if you have the right tools to bend a aluminum street sign. I'm like, oh yeah, street sign, everything is awesome.
Have you ever seen the sign on the Blue Ridge Parkway about the curves, and it's like a guy like with his hands up in the air and it looks like a rainbow under him, like he's falling off of it? Have you seen that? That would be the ultimate.
It would be the ultimate. That's the logo for Dancing the Polka with Chris Cope. That really is his logo.
Oh, it is, isn't it? You're right. Yeah, dude. Yeah. Yep. Fantastic, man. That's my bike protection. You got any more good ones? I couldn't really think of that many.
This is a sensitive topic between you and I, but there are those who want to protect their engine crash guards for various reasons. So you can use garden hose, fuel line. I forget what else. I've seen pool noodles used in this case as well, for whatever reason it may be. I don't know if it's backing on the luggage racks or what it is, but I've seen various crash guards adorned with various protective materials. But yeah, some old garden hose is a good thing to zip tie on there if that's your jam.
I've seen people use what was that rope you could paracord wrapped around crash guards for that. I have one question though. If anybody is buying crash protection for their crash protection, please let me know, because I would like to interview you and ask you why.
Send hate mail to. I got another
Yeah.
one I read about that I had not thought of, and I love it because they're expensive. Folding a license plate into a heat shield for your exhaust. I'm like,
Oh, and I've done that
that's
before.
rad.
Yeah, that is rad. I forgot about that one. I've used license plates for all kinds of things,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, I've on my this isn't motorcycle, but on the Ford Transit, there's a to get into the mechanism to drop the spare tire. It's an open area, and I didn't want my fertilizer pellets to get down in there, so I took a license plate and bolted it to the top. It was the metal I had sitting around. It worked out great. Yep, good one.
The other thing I wanted to throw out there, and you mentioned it before, hockey puck or skateboard frame sliders. And I could really see that because everybody's big on the steg pegs all of a sudden. It's like, yeah, you could fashion your own steg pegs out of cutting a skateboard wheel in half and bolting it on there.
Yeah, I need to talk to anybody that has steg pegs on their adventure bike too.
All right, so that is protection for the bike, which leaves us with gear. I got some electronic navigation gear type stuff here, so I think this is the general title of gear. It's kind of tough to put all this together.
Yeah, fair.
So where do you want to start, sir?
I like electrical tape on the inside of your helmet visor to block the sun. You ever
I
seen
was
that
so
little
close
track?
to. I tried it and was struggling to get it where I want it on my current helmet. I need to give that another go. I've seen it done.
It works great. It works really, really well. For those that don't know, take a strip of electrical tape or two strips. I used one strip, was fine for me, but a couple strips on the inside of your helmet shield. Put that joker at the top, and just like a carved sun visor, now you got a little sun visor, and it works. It's, what, a half a cent for 6 inches of electrical tape. It works out really well.
To some degree, this is luggage, but obviously I have a vest I wear that's got Molly on it, but military surplus Molly gear. If you're not worried about stuff being waterproof, you can get some killer deals nowadays on little Molly pouches in different places, and
Yeah.
they're not great, but they're cheap. I mean, I like carrying, like, if you're riding off road, I want to carry a pair of dirt bike gloves, and I want them easy for me to get to. They're right here in this little pocket. I'm not worried about them getting wet. It's great.
Yep. Yep, Molly stuff is pretty, and you can buy. Everybody has Molly now. You can buy that stuff at sporting goods stores for nothing too.
Yep.
I'm gonna stick with my helmet theme, dude. Lemon Pledge in a helmet visor. Ever heard of that one?
I've heard of people using Pledge for different stuff. I've never attempted to use Pledge. Is it for fogging or for cleaning?
Yeah, for both. It leaves it's kind of oily when you're done, so the bugs don't stick to it as well, which is gonna be right up your alley.
On
Right?
the outside.
On the outside, dude, do not put it on the inside. It goes
That's
on
why
the
I was like,
outside.
what?
Yeah, no, you put it on the outside. On the inside, you can use a little bit of Dawn dish detergent and then buff it off. But on the outside, the Pledge, it helps resist like condensation on the outside. So it's not gonna probably not help much in rain, but smaller, lighter rain or heavy fog, that sort of thing, and for cleaning the bogs. Also, don't use it on pin locks or like that. You don't want to use it on the inside because of fog treatment shields. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it works great, and as a bonus, you smell lemony fresh throughout the day, so it helps with those of us that have stinky helmets. It's a good one,
That's what
man.
does it for me.
Yeah.
Military surplus again. If you can get a deal on some of like Gore-Tex jackets, liners, and whatnot, you could potentially wear like motocross gear, but pack some military surplus jacket as a rain jacket, especially if you're a dual sport guy. That's what my buddy Bill does. Like he's always wearing his Navy Gore-Tex jacket he got from his son-in-law. Like it's definitely the way to do that.
You can spend a lot of time in a military surplus store trying to figure out how to make shit work for a motorcycle. That's 100% for real.
Yep.
But I bet you that jacket is not as cheap as a giant trash bag.
It's only as cheap as the grocery bag boot liners I have.
They both relate to each other. It's we went. I had this ride, one of the Flux's big adventure rides years ago, and these dudes from Florida came up and they were freezing, and it's not necessarily rain, but they were freezing. They didn't have jackets. They're a bunch of, Florida boys that weren't prepared. We stopped by a gas station. They got trash bags. They cut holes in the tops and in the sides for their arms. I got pictures of them giving me the bird, for it. And the gas station attendant was like, "What in the world is going on here?" But dude, I mean, they're most of the time you can get one for free. I mean, no one's going to charge you for one trash bag. Gas station, grab it, good to go.
I've never seen anybody do it recently, but they used to have the plastic gloves for pumping diesel and stuff like that. So you used to be able to get free glove liners at a gas station, but I've not seen anything like that.
I haven't seen that either. In a while.
You're lucky to have fluid in the damn window washer thing these days, right?
Yeah, dude. Man, have you ever seen anybody wash their helmet with that stupid squeegee, dude? That is vile.
It gives me palpitations because it's like that's full of dirt and you're running it right across your plastic visor. But that's a whole other discussion there.
Yeah, dude. 100%. Yep. Absolutely.
I've got like folding fishing stools for camping on here.
Oh, well, that moves into the camping section.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah,
that's okay, but I'm done with gear. So if you want to move to camping and travel, let's do it.
Yeah, definitely like fishing stuff goes a long way, but yeah, folding fishing is camp chairs and whatnot to kind of get away from some of the name brand stuff.
Yep, that's a real good one. And even again, like Walmart sells like little foam stadium pads like to sit on bleachers with if you just want to sit on the ground. That thing works out great, man. At Walmart again, I have this little backpacker's tarp. It folds up. It's like maybe the pack of size of a pack of playing cards or something. Wow. It's real small, and I bring that with me on every trip. It takes up no space, and I will use it to throw over my bike. Like I throw it over the dash and over the seat, not to protect against rain. It's probably not that good, but it helps with the dew. I can't stand the dew on my bike in the morning, so I just tie it down with a few carabiners that I keep around or whatever, and it works out really good, man. Really good.
It always makes me think of like you always end up like taking a knee to work on the bike in the morning, or you need to sit on the ground for something when you're camping. Like that's a million solutions on there. Yeah, I had Harbor Freight tarps. I think for the most part, and backpacking cookware, but yeah, like there's not a whole lot for camping for me. That's unfortunately these days. It's both ends. There's Amazon and camping has become super popular. So I kind of feel like it's harder to pinch pennies these days than it used to be in that space.
It is, but there's some good things. I mean, to me, camping and travel, I just kind of put them together. But like, there's some good things you can do, dude. Like, take some tinder to start fires, for example, dude.
Yep.
Before we go on a trip, I have a trash can next to our washer and dryer. Get some lint out of there. It's only for lint. So grab some lint and a little bit of chapstick or some Vaseline or something and mash them together and then put them in a little Ziploc bag or what have you. Dude, instant fire starter. Stuff works phenomenal, man.
Yeah.
Works really good.
Yeah.
Or Doritos.
Including the bag. I've heard a couple good things about ways to create your own fire starter, but we could definitely do a whole podcast on camping, and hopefully we will at some point. So, what are some other last mentions that we should throw in here?
Okay, I've got to mention at least two things. One is that welcome centers at state lines have free maps, all kinds of free maps.
Yep.
Great free maps. You don't ever have to pay for a map. Just go to the welcome center on a state line, right?
Which is also kindling if you're not worried about the map part.
There you go. Exactly. Yeah. 100%, man. Continental breakfast at a hotel can easily become lunch to go if you have big enough pockets.
For the win. Yes.
Yep.
I salute this.
Yep. You know what? I think I'll end with that one, to be honest. But I will say, when you get your lunch to go, don't forget the cutlery.
I'm going to swing the other way. I love that, by the way. Absolutely love it. I actually made the most recent GPS bracket for my bike with a 3D printer. So I did buy some filament from a friend, and I gave him, he bought a bunch of it, right? And so I designed the actual mount to fit the crossbar on the T7, and then the actual ball mount for the Carpy Ride or whatever else it is. And so I think I paid for a bolt at the most, and that thing works amazing. So yeah, at this point, you know somebody with a 3D printer, so buy him a Big Mac, and then you could potentially do that. And there's a bunch of freeware. Even Autodesk, who makes AutoCAD, makes a freeware 3D, design studio that you can use. So
I didn't even think about the 3D printer, which is the ultimate Pennytech device, and we have one here. So yeah, it's
yeah, because
there's
all the kids
kinds
are
of
getting them now.
They are. Yeah, it's a toy, dude. It's a toy.
All right, so in the upcoming subscriber section, we want to talk about some garage hack fails, and then some of the we've tried some of this stuff, and would we actually do it again type stuff. So I want to unpack that, and I'm sure we'll do some more behind the scenes potpourri. As a reminder to everybody listening, if you want to subscribe to the show to get the bonus content, it's $1 a month, $0.25 an episode. It's a Big Mac meal a year to subscribe to the show to get bonus content. So there's a link in the show description if you want to do that. So any closing comments to the regular listeners before we skip over to the bonus section, sir?
I do not, but I would like to ask everybody to post up their Pennytech hacks, right? And maybe even drop a hashtag Pennytech or something, and maybe tag us when this comes out on social media so we can keep track and see some of this stuff. Because pictures are great, or words are great, but dude, pictures are where it's at for this, and I can't wait to see. I know some of these listeners have got some phenomenal Pennytech things going on, so let us know. Hashtag Pennytech. Let's see it.
Love it. Subscribers, hang in there. We'll catch everybody else down the road.